Now this node module, which is the which we have declared as a variable in here, is actually the TCP IP, the lower level TCP API that's provided by Node. Now the lower level of TCP API actually is built on using the C and C++ add-ons. Node has a very basic and low-level architecture when compared with other frameworks, but it also gives us some sort of high-level overview using this require function. Now this require function is actually calling the node module of HTTP. This node module, which is known as the HTTP, provides us with a basic functionality of creating a server. Now, when we develop a website, we have to develop some sort of, we have to create some sort of structure, and then we create several pages, we create the interactions using JavaScript, we create the back-end logic using any language like C# or PHP, and that's how it works. But in Node, you can actually control what goes on behind the scenes every time you send a request for a page and you get a response for a page. And that's what it does, and that's what we are going to do using this HTTP module. This HTTP module is from the Node's API. As I've already shown you how this Node API, where we get this Node API, I'll be posting the links below in the description section, so please check it out. Now we're going to work through many examples throughout this video series so that it becomes easier for us to develop real-life web application. When I require the node module, when I call the node module from the global scope of Node's repository, then I'm assigning this and then I'm assigning this function or this node module to this HTTP variable. Now this HTTP variable is being turned into an object. If you are not quite familiar with the JavaScript object, or if you have forgotten about what this JavaScript object is, let me just give you a simple refresher or a simple reminder. So an object is essentially more of like a variable, but the object is created in a different way. We use the curly braces, and then if we try to create properties like property 1 has got a string value like a name, like I write my name in here. Then if you want to provide another property, you provide something like this, and now it's a numeric value. Then if you want to provide a method, which is actually a function contained inside an object, then you write something like this: method function, and this function will do something like it will print out maybe it will print out a string value, like maybe it will print out, no, I already did that, node module, maybe we can just write this out. So it will print out a message on the console. So it's a pretty simple object, and now when we try to access these properties and the methods, all we need to do is just to call the variable name, which is now an object, and then we use the dot or the property or the method accessor, and using that we call the property name. So if you provide this inside console log, so what we're essentially doing in here is that we are calling the property 1's value, which is a string value, which is actually my name, and it's calling that string value, and it's accessing that property. It's accessing that first property from the object known as the obj. Now you can provide any sort of name in here. I've just provided the name obj, and then whenever you try to create a whenever you try to create this encapsulated object, you need to use these curly braces followed by this semicolon to end your statements. Now inside this object we have got the property, we have got this second property, and also a method. Now if you want to include, or if you want to call the method from the object, you'll have to do just the same stuff, method 1, and here we go. Now this method does not, or this function does not take any sort of arguments. That's why we have left it empty. So this will this is the way we access our properties. Just call the name and then provide this access modifier, or this property or method accessor. They have different names for it, but the function is just the same. So you provide this accessor, and then you move on to which property or which method you want to access from this object. So I want to access the first property, which has got the name property 1. Now when the compiler compiles your code, it's going to look inside this object first. It's going to look inside this object, and then it's going to look inside this property 1. It's going to look into the value of the property 1. When it sees that it has got a string value, then it's going to replace that string. It's going to replace this entire expression with the string name. Now after it has retrieved the string value from the property 1 property, then it's going to write something. It's going to replace it with something like this. So now we have got the name from the object property 1, and then it's going to print that out.